next guy, he's with a stable at Collecticon, is, how many of these have we done now in years? At least a dozen. Yeah, something like that. He's an actor, musician whose work includes Demon Slayer, The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and Akira. Today, here to discuss the role of Ichigo, you then give it up for Johnny on Bond!
Thank you, guys. Alright, so this is a Bleach panel.
So who's read the manga?
Ah!
So y'all know what's gonna happen, right?
Excited for more 1,000-year blood war, huh? Well, it has been fun.
It has. Although I've only been in a few episodes.
It was so short, though.
Like boink.
I know.
Have we gotten called in yet to record any new stuff?
I think the second season is supposed to air in June.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so we'll probably get called in July. And say, hey, we needed you guys last week.
Oops.
Right.
So yeah, it is Bleach panel, but real quick, for
Yeah,
like 5 seconds,
Yeah.
I'm gonna minorly hijack it and do
No,
my,
do
own,
your thing.
my own little personal
Do it.
counts.
Yes.
Hello, Lupin.
Oh, thank you. Anybody a fan of Lupin the Third? Yes. Booty cakes and little inspectors and
Inspector, there it goes.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Thank you for the.
Thank you, Patty.
Anyway, as you were saying, Jeff.
Right, so I usually open up with this, so I'll go ahead. We've done some before, so just real quick, going all the way back to the beginning, this was a while ago. How did each of you come into these roles?
Johnny.
Wow. I auditioned. Yes, it was a long time ago. I auditioned for a couple of characters, maybe 4 or 5 different characters, but I knew from my travels that Ichigo was one that was important because I saw people cosplaying him, so I made sure to do extra focus on that. I remember having to do it a couple different ways. Jamie was directing my
The callback, yeah.
the audition, my first audition,
Oh, okay.
and the callback.
Yeah.
But and I remember him because I was familiar with it because my drummer had watched it and he showed me a little bit of the character and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, I think I have an audition.
The
for that.
Japanese version?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And so I was familiar, I had an understanding of who the character was, at least where I thought he was like kind of the street punk kid or whatever. And so that's where I thought I would play him. But then I was told, no, he shouldn't sound too mean, he'd make him nicer. And I was like, nicer? And he's like kicking these guys' butts or whatever, right? And I was like, okay, I'll try that. So I played it kind of nice, and then of course there's like fight stuff and shouting Bankai, and I just did whatever I did. And then he's like, all right, that's good. And then the callback was like, he sounded too nice. And I was like, that's what I was told to do.
If you people would just let me do it instinctively,
And
I wanted to
sometimes
do
it
in the
feels-
first place.
Sometimes it feels like that.
Yes.
But hey, I don't know. They got things they got to do to whatever, make people happy. But anyway, so yeah,
Yes.
so we did that. But he was like, well, not. But he was like, they said it was too nice, but you still want some of that niceness. But can you?
Punk them up a little.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to do that, and then after that session, then that was it.
You were in.
I was in, and I had watched I ended up watching 60 episodes on YouTube back then.
Before you auditioned?
After I got the part.
Oh, okay.
I watched 60 episodes. At first I was like, well, I didn't know anything about it, so I wanted to, check it out. And I saw it, it was on YouTube. And so I watched it on YouTube, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch 10 episodes, and then I was hooked after that. After 10 episodes, I was like, oh, I gotta find out what's gonna happen. And then eventually it was like, oh no, is he gonna save Rukia? And it's 60 episodes later, I was like, oh, okay, now I know exactly what's gonna happen. So when I went in, and we had gone through a couple different directors, but I remember I was in there, and then I'd see the script, and we were working on it, and then I would often go, that's not actually what's being said, because I knew it was, because I watched it, I just watched it, yeah. And then they thought I spoke Japanese, because I did so well. I was like, well, actually what's happening here in this scene, I was explaining what was happening in the scene, so it was kind of neat. But it was still 18 episodes in, and then after 18 episodes, then they kind of loosened the reins. Then it wasn't so.
Do you still try to
Yes.
do that with other roles too? Like if you can get. the
I
material?
do. If I can find something, I feel like, well, because we cold read, you know, and so I like to cheat.
Yeah, well, no, that's how we're doing
I
our
like to
homework,
know
right?
a little bit about the world or something, because you just, you know, you don't
Even
know.
now, like when you're recording, because we used to have paper scripts.
Yeah.
So you could read ahead in the script to see what was going to happen.
Right.
Now everything is like on an iPad, so.
Yeah. Well, a cold read is basically like you think that we get scripts ahead of time and we get to study them and then develop our characters and go in. No, in anime, it's like you go in blind, you don't know anything, and you show up and then it's up to you to be like, so what's going on here? What's the story? Who am I? Where am I going? Where do I end up? And you got to get and then you got to make it work. And
Like that.
Yeah, like you don't. So when there's paragraphs that you have to say. You're memorizing it on the spot, or you're doing it right then and there, and you're trying to fit these flaps that don't, you know, that aren't in English. So
I've got copy as it's being written.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
pretty
mean,
much.
Literally,
and then
there's
there's
in the next room that are.
yeah, they'll change them even then and there. You know, they're like, well, that doesn't fit. Let's try this, or let's change it up.
Yeah.
But you know, it's something that we've been doing for a long time, so we're used to it.
Yeah.
But
I'm
anyways,
finally
that's
getting the
cool.
hang of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Almost
Finally,
there.
25 years
Almost
later.
there.
So for my audition, I
Sorry, yeah.
very much like Johnny's, I went in, did the audition, got a call back, and then I ended up booking the character. But I found out that the main reason I booked the character was that the Japanese client felt that I sounded pretty much exactly like the Japanese actress, Rukia. Like the girl who was playing Rukia in Japanese and myself were very similar in tone and delivery, I guess, you know, in exchange for English to Japanese. So that was one of the reasons why I booked her, from what I'm told. But again, like the first couple of sessions, they were like really being so particular about delivery and vocal tone and placement, and like 3 directors later, and it was like pulling teeth trying to get it rolling, you know. But once it was set, then it was like, okay, we can just kind of settle into the characters and like have fun with it, which is, you know.
Eventually, no director.
Exactly. It just didn't
Yeah, so
appear.
it sounded to, yeah. Obviously, same circumstances. It was a studio that kind of broke off from Savant Entertainment. Jamie and the other dude's name, old dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Studiopolis?
Yeah. He's the other partner. Anyway, so back then it was basically, I think there was a big round table and all the scripts were laid out and you could choose whatever you wanted. And I don't know, did you guys get vocal references before?
No.
Yeah, now they're pretty good about, you know, if we're doing an audition for them, before we record it at home, they usually give us a reference so we can get an idea. But that was the interesting thing about what, like Johnny and Michelle were saying, is that we didn't have really anything to go on, but just the picture and what the directors told us, people auditioning us. And I originated the English voice for Eni Tomorrow, and it was kind of, I mean, you see the guy for the first time, you know he's kind of a, you know, he's a snake. I mean, and so it's like, my voice just went, oh yes. And that's kind of how that voice worked from there. And I ended up taking on Kisuke Urahara. I'm sure you guys have heard the story here. There was a former English voice actor, Michael Lindsay. And, you know, about halfway through, I think he just left Los Angeles. And Studiopolis, the producers were like, I was recording Dean, and they're like, hey, we're in a bit of a pinch. Can you sound like this guy? And I'm like, that's Michael. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And so they're like, okay, can you do it? And so I thought I was just doing that episode. But then they're like, so now you're Kisuke. So I've been since 2010. How am I doing? Thank you.
What's been the best part of being involved with Bleach specifically for each of you?
Best part? Oh gosh, I don't know.
Well, other than
One of the
being
biggest
an
parts is
amazing
meeting all
show.
of you, really.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
that connection to you guys through the show.
I was going to say the same thing, John.
Yeah, sure you were.
I was. I was.
I had to get it out first.
I like to copy you.
I know. Rukia.
Whatever, Ichigo.
Yeah, well, meeting you guys and having like, because we're in the booth by ourselves, you know, we work on these things and we're like, hopefully that worked, it felt okay, but then it's like when we see you guys and it's connected with you, that just, I don't know, warms my heart. But it's a fun show. I mean, there's a lot of cool action, and especially the new season. I just feel like
Oh my god,
the animation
it's
is
so
there,
visually
you know?
amazing.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
it's cool. I dig it.
It's like the modernized version of what we were doing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's really cool.
Have you watched any
I
older
have.
stuff since?
No, I haven't gone
Oh,
back.
okay, yeah. I went back just to look because I was like, well, because I wanted to see like.
Wait,
I mean,
did you watch
The
Summer Dub?
difference.
I only watched the dub. All right. No, I did. I went through and watched the dub. But because I was like, well, where was I in the beginning, you know? And he's going to be very different now, because, not very different, but different because he's been doing this for a long time now.
He's more
You know?
mature.
Yeah,
But he's still
more mature.
19 though.
I know, he's still 19. But even, well, then he was like 15.
Oh.
He was like 15. He was,
Was 15.
yeah, he was 15, and then I remember.
But you know, in Japanese, it's like
Well, Ichigo
30
in Japanese
is
was
old.
probably already 30 something.
Yeah,
Right, right.
exactly.
Well, when you're 15, you think you know it all. But when you're 19, you know you know it
You
all.
really
Yeah,
know it all.
definitely.
And then when you're 29, you think your life is over.
Right, that's the
yes.
end. Yeah, all the 29-year-olds are the old people.
29 in Japanese anime, yes, definitely. You're,
Then you wake up one day and the kids are calling you boomers.
Yes.
That's right, that's right. Can they though? I don't know.
Yes.
Boomers is a specific
I
generation.
I live in West Hollywood, California, and I was walking down the sidewalk and I hear this, "Hey, sexy grandpa!" And I'm like, I don't know if I should be offended or flattered. I took it as a compliment. I mean, why not? Right?
take it when you can, right?
It's like the first part, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Out of any voice acting project you've ever done, what is the craziest thing that's happened to you in the booth? That you feel is safe for a multi.
We have children.
The craziest thing? I mean, the booth is usually a pretty safe place.
I
Not when
can
you work for
I
Second
can tell,
and
and I remember, well, I mean, I've told this story before, but maybe you guys haven't heard it. The show was called Wolf's Rain, and I was voicing a character named Kiba. It's a pretty cool anime.
Was that Magnitude 8?
I worked on that too.
It was, yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
You guys worked on it?
Little boat,
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Little boat, yeah.
So this was like my
Mary
third.
Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is like my third anime ever, and so still very new to it and scared. And the whole idea of like cold reading the thing and not really knowing was super scary for me. So when I would show up sometimes earlier, and then because we had paper scripts, I'd like, try to cheat, right? Try to figure out, and then I would also ask questions, but I felt like if I could read ahead, it'd be great. So usually that was my thing, but this one day I was running late, so I skipped breakfast. I showed up just in the right amount of time to be able to be there and kind of go through. But because I didn't eat breakfast, my stomach, like I could feel like it was like, growling, making noises. And so when you're in the booth, and just in general, like, when you're in school and it's quiet, you're doing a quiz and your stomach's like, yeah, you're like, you have to tap the table or shuffle some paper. You're trying to like shake it loose, but you can't do that in the booth. That'd be really weird. So I had water, and so like when I felt like it was about to growl, I would like down a bunch of water. And it was working for a long time. It was like, I found a technique that works,
Was it like a 4-hour session? Though?
Yeah, it was. It was a long session, so I'm like, and then like right when we were about to record, the beeps go and I'm ready to go. And without warning, like I was able to feel it before, but without warning, my stomach makes a growly noise, but not like a regular one where I could just be like, yeah, it's my stomach. Instead, it went, oh! And so it sounded like I tried to let out a silent fart, but my butt cheeks were like, nope. And so I could feel, Mary and the engineer just their heads turn and look at me through the window, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to work in this town again. They think I farted in the booth. I'm like, hey, and they're like, I'm like, nah, I mean, I know it sounded weird, but that was my stomach made that, and she was like, it's like, no, come on in, you can smell it. It's like, and then they're like, so, yeah, so it's strange. It's a strange thing that, yeah.
I have a kind of a gnarly one. I was working on some show called Last Man. Has anybody heard of that? It was a French, I don't know if it was a graphic novel first or what it was.
Why The Last Man?
What, pardon me?
Why The Last Man?
No, just Last Man.
Okay.
And my character was kind of a sleazy club owner, and he's kind of messing with the wrong people, and he gets kind of the beat down, and the scene required me to be talking while another person was peeing, and I had to sound like I was getting that in my face while I was recording the lines. And so my director suggested I go method, and I was pouring glasses of water on my face, and I was like drenched, Stephanie Shea. And it was, that was, I think, the craziest thing I've had.
That is definitely crazy.
But it sounded really good. I mean, just get a
I have
chance.
been asked if I would be willing to put my head in a fishbowl to record.
Did your head fit?
I did not do it. I refused.
Was there water
was-
and fish in
Yeah.
it?
Well, yes, it was for CSI Vegas, and the sound supervisor wanted it was a violent show. Like somebody was always getting killed. So this
Oh, so it's
girl,
supposed to be
this girl
Yeah.
was getting drowned in basically like a fishbowl, and he literally wanted to bring a bowl of water into the studio to put in front of the microphone. And it was in the morning, like I had an afternoon session, and he's like, "Okay, who's willing to put their head in a bowl of water to record this next loop?" And I'm like, "I'm not." Sorry, you're gonna have to pay me extra for that one.
I think that qualifies for stunt pay.
Yeah, for sure.
You're like, I'm not a good swimmer.
I'm allergic to water. One final question. Let's go ahead and get the obligatory question out of it. In your own shortest advice, what advice do you give to people who want to pursue a career in voice acting?
Go
Don't.
study acting.
Yeah. Take a class.
Yeah.
Acting's kind of the base.
Yes.
It's called voice acting for a reason.
Because you can always quantify it by yes. Don't be a voice actor, be an actor, and take the work where you can.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And I always say too, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Yeah. Yep. And I think a lot of people, a lot of people in their heads think that they want to be a voice actor because maybe it looks glamorous from the outside. I mean, I don't
It is
know.
not
It's really
glamorous.
not. It's really not. But unless you have your feet in it and you're really experiencing it and what it's like to do it, you're really not going to know. So taking those acting classes and maybe taking a voiceover class to see if it's something you actually really like is important, before you decide to actually commit to something like that,
I always tell people, get a good set of headphones and hear what you sound like, because it's a big difference than what you hear talking.
Yeah, that's
your actual voice is not the way you sound. And so I always have to say, get used to that. When I first really started hearing my voice, I was like, I didn't realize how nasal I was. I was like, So, and it's just learning your own instrument, knowing the drawbacks and knowing the things that you can do.
Yeah, how far you can push it. Yeah. It's like when you do your own voicemail message.
I know,
You're like,
how many
"Ah, I
times
sound
do you
like that?"
record?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
oh,
Over
that
and
sounded
over.
weird.
I need to sound more manly. Hang on. Yeah, you know what to do.
So do it after the beep.
All right, we got that out of the way, and before I go to audience questions, again, I need to thank all three of you for your participation in this series. It's gone on for such a long time. It's such a great adventure. So on behalf of myself and the audience, I thank you all for your talents. I thank you all for your professionalism. I thank you for the performances you brought to these roles and all the other work that you guys have done, because you all have a tremendous body of work in front and behind the camera, and just thank you for all that. You brought a lot of smiles and a lot of enjoyment and a lot of thrills.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Patty.
Absolutely. All right, so who's gonna be our first question? And as always, if
Audience
you go first, you
participation.
get 2 pieces of candy. All right, tell you what, let's do a line.
I like that blazer, Patty.
Thank you, thank you.
He's fancy.
Well, I have to look professional in case I'm authoritative.
You're so professional.
Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name's Chelsea. Nice to see you guys.
Hi, Chelsea.
Yesterday, okay, I kind of had a rush, and before I saw that work came out, and I was watching Bleach, the dub, because the dub was my favorite version, I guess, before everything came out. I noticed the one thing I really enjoyed about Bleach was the humor. All like the humorous scenes is kind of timeless. I want to know, what's you guys' favorite scene? My favorite scene had to be the one where Kenpachi, after the whole betrayal thing, that when Ichigo was kind of recovering, and then it's like when Kenpachi kind of came in, and then it's like he was about to fight Ichigo. You know, Ichigo be hot-headed. He was like, he was like, nah, nope, I'm out. I was like, every time I kind of watch this scene, that kind of made me laugh. And also the reveal launch. But I wanted to ask you guys, what was the funniest scene or line you guys had?
Funniest.
Gosh, not a whole lot of funny things happening in the new stuff yet.
No.
Uh,
I mean, I think like the first, probably.
like Rukia, why do your drawings suck so bad?
Exactly. Like that whole arc with us and the banter between us.
Why
and
she's sleeping in his closet.
It's so weird. That whole the first couple of episodes are really funny, I think.
Yeah, earlier on, there's definitely quite a bit of things in there that's pretty fun. There's some funny stuff here and there. Yeah. Those things are nice, especially in something like this that could be very dark at times. You know, it's really nice to have some of those silly moments too. Yeah.
There you go, thank you.
Did she get candy?
Yes.
He wasn't
Where's
lying.
my candy?
You haven't earned it yet.
Oh.
No, I'm giving it to him.
Yeah.
Do not.
Wow.
Don't give
Patty,
Patty the
she's
S's.
a slave driver.
Do not. All right, she got an extra one too. All right, how about that? Hey, what's your name?
My name's Devin. All right, so it's nice to meet you guys. Just to kind of piggyback off of her question, can you guys tell of a time or like the most difficult scene that you've ever had to shoot, or like a scene that you've had to shoot multiple times and just wasn't satisfying, or something like that?
Oh.
I mean, I think my whole time in this whole society, while waiting for Ichigo to come save me, was pretty poopy.
I loved our little scene on the bridge, Ian and Rukia. When he he was kind of dirty. That was
Yes.
fun.
That was fun.
Well, for me.
I think for me, probably, I can't even really think of one, but it would probably be whenever Ichigo is dealing with, the whole hollow thing, where he's like screaming, and the chain and all that stuff. Yeah, so that would probably be one. Anything where you have to constantly scream. Taxi.
You have a lot of screaming.
I do scream a lot.
You do
Yeah.
scream quite a bit.
What do you do?
And I've noticed, like, watching that was in your Blood War,
Yeah.
got a lot of screaming going on.
Just a little bit.
There you go. Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Come on. Hey, what's your name?
Justin, if you could hang out with your characters who you voice in Bleach for one day, what would you do with that character for that day?
Wow.
I would fly. I would ask Ruki to take me flying. Like, why not, right?
Now, will this be like the first time we've met them and they'd be like, what? Who are you? No, I'm not going to take you flying. Or are they just cool with us?
I think they're just cool with
They're
us.
just cool with us.
Yeah.
I think Keisuke and I just, go to the local smoke shop and have a sesh. I'm in California, we're hippies.
I have no idea. I don't know. Does he do anything normal?
I don't think so. Do you?
Do you do anything normal?
I don't think so. I'd ask him to dub some of it.
You'd be like, all right,
Yeah, try this out.
dub my
Japanese.
life. Dub my life,
Let me
Ichigo.
hear you say Bankai. You'd be like, hey, can we say Bankai? And he'd be like, oh, all right, fine.
Ask
I'm
him
like,
to-
hang on.
ask him to scream.
Let me record it. Can you say Getsuga Tensho, please? Okay. How do you spell Getsuga Tensho? Do you add a U at the end?
Oh, nice. Hey, what's your name?
Jared, have you guys ever cosplayed your character at a con or for Halloween for Bleach?
For Bleach, no.
Any other character?
For something
Yeah.
else.
I want to get a hat. I want
What'd
to get a
you
Keisuke
cosplay?
hat for sure.
Kiba, Wolf's Ring.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was because like there was a group they were doing a whole Wolf's Ring thing, and they didn't have a Kiba, and since I was flying there, they're like, we'll put together your costume. And I was like, all right. Okay.
I have not, but I have thought about it. I'm gonna do it. I am within the
Maybe
next
like
year.
a photo shoot.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun.
We should do something like that.
We should.
I'll wear an orange wig.
All
I'll wear
right.
the.
I think we should like do a whole
Come on, guys.
Gotta get that
let's
hat,
do a
so-
music video and like do a
Somebody give me
dance.
some wooden clogs, I'm in.
There you go. Yeah.
I think we
What do
should
you think he really
like a
wears much
flash
underneath
mob.
there? I think he's kind of he just rocks
He's
the
just
robe.
free balling, man. Yeah.
And let's do a Bleach flash mob
Let's do it.
and all the characters like become a cosplay and dance.
Love
There you
it.
go.
Come
Great
on.
question. Thank you.
Maybe he's got like green and white striped boxers.
That makes sense actually.
That would make sense.
Just matches.
Hello, Simpson. What's your name?
It's Dominic. I'll preface this with I am more of a sub-only elitist.
Get out of here.
But it doesn't.
Why are you?
All right, we are prepared for your rude comments.
No, I'm gonna put it first. I hate what you do, but I'm here just to ask you a question.
All right, all right. And do you know that half your shirt is tucked in?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right.
You stepped in it now, son.
Do you ever compare yourself to the Japanese VA counterpart for any?
No, I leave that up to you, man.
You guys are really good at it.
You do enough of that.
Yeah.
Do we
I leave it up to you.
do we compare to like the voice or to the character?
I mean, kind of both because there is like different characterization when it comes to how they speak to.
Mhm.
What are you specifically getting at?
You were similar to Rukia, and that's
Nice.
my
I mean, I do share some similarities to her for sure. I mean, I think, you know, I'm not saying I'm like Rukia, but I think in order to play a character, you have to bring a large part of yourself to that character. It's part of being vulnerable and part of being an
I mean, you have to
actor.
make it your own.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
exactly.
You're gonna be faking it.
I
Exactly.
mean, you know, they play us the Japanese before we record in English, and you know, it's our job to take the intonation in the actor's voice. Culturally,
Unless the director says
they want to break it.
they do
more
not
American.
want you to copy the
Sometimes they
Japanese,
really
which
do
happens.
give us the leeway to make it more Americanized. Because some stuff just won't play in English, some Japanese kind of
Yeah.
colloquialisms and some
Yeah.
specific cultural references that are going to kind of fly over our heads.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have to adapt, but at the same time, I try to really honor the Japanese actor,
Mm-hmm.
and usually what I notice between the sub and the dub, well, watching the original Japanese is, Americans, we tend to overact our dubbing more than the Japanese seem pretty staid. And it's hard because I'll notice that I start acting more and I'm just like, no, be like the Japanese. Show it out, man, So that's at least what I take from it.
And in the defense too, you guys are making choices, but you're still, for all intents and purposes, you're still thrown against the wall. It is the director's job
Absolutely.
to say, okay, bring it back a little bit, bring it forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, director
let's
will
play the
certainly guide you into place, but we gotta do our job too. I
Yeah.
think the other thing that people don't realize, and your people don't realize, is that
You're brave, my
we
friend.
are tied down, we are locked into lip flap. And there was a thing that was going around where they're like, somebody posted this clip where it was like an older clip where I say bankai in English and they play in the Japanese and then they play the English. And they're like, well, why didn't he leave the gap? Well, because there was no gap. So I say bankai, right? I say, well, bankai, because there's just it was actually 3 flaps. So it's like a flap and then bankai, right? But in the Japanese, he just says bankai. He skips that 3rd flap, right? So I do bankai, right? So I had to do the reaction or whatever before, and so it's like 3 flaps. So I have to do that, and then everyone's like, why didn't you leave the gap? Well, it's like, because it's a close-up of my face, and I've got 3 flaps. And so I've got to do 3 flaps. I don't get to just be like, ignore it, guys. No, I'm locked into that. And I don't know why the animator took what the Japanese guy did and made bankai 3 flaps, but that's what they did. So I'm locked into that, and I'm like, this is what I got to do.
Or maybe it
It's
was
in the script that way.
pre-animated before, like, the Japanese version was completed or whatever, and then you can't go back and change the animation because they don't
Maybe.
want to
What I
spend money.
find though,
You know what I mean?
I do find though, oftentimes like the animation, even in the Japanese, doesn't follow like the lip flaps. don't
Exactly.
always mirror almost
Yeah, a lot of
as good or
times we
better.
make it better. Yeah,
Well,
the
because
actual
they
the actual
animate.
sync is
They-
better in
They
English.
don't animate it to the Japanese voice actors. I did not know.
They don't. Okay,
No,
so
so
yeah.
they dub it
I
too.
think sometimes, it depends
Or
on
do
the
they? Yeah,
series.
I guess the project probably, yeah. We're all just
Yeah, so
flying by the
anyways.
seat of our pants, man. We don't know what we're doing.
But like
All I'm
SAO,
trying to say is, don't be so mean.
don't be
Hey,
cruel.
listen,
Thank
the
you
world's
for,
already
thank
cruel
you for
enough.
supporting whatever version of the show you support.
He gets a candy and I don't.
Wow.
Patty.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I forgive you.
I saw him spit on it. He spit on it first.
Are you leaving? That would have been, if you had like walked out the door, that would have been perfect.
He's like, I'm out of here.
Hi, what's your name?
Audrey? Okay, so outside of the shows that you have voiced, what's your favorite anime?
I liked Battle Angel, Alita.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Ninja Scroll back in the day, yeah.
Arcane, League of Legends. People see that on Netflix?
No, but I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
I personally, one of my favorite animes that I was in, which is a
said
little bit
one that you're
of
not in.
nepotism. Did you say it could be or could not be?
Outside of one that you were in. But go ahead and give that one anyway.
Never mind.
And then-
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish your-
Erased. Erased is one of my favorite. Yeah, because it's just so outside the norm of what you would expect an anime to be. I loved it.
Are people being erased in
Maybe.
Do you, hey,
You'll have
can
to
I ask you
watch.
guys something? If you ever audition for a role that you really want, but you don't get it, do you ever secretly go on and go and just listen to the actor that got it to see what their
Yes.
performance was?
it?
Really?
Yeah,
I have
do too.
And oftentimes you
It's
find
not
out,
pretty.
right? And oftentimes you're like, but why?
And you're like, are you serious?
And you're like, that's a strange choice.
Yeah.
They could have gone with me.
Right.
No, I don't.
Sure.
I don't. The one that got away that I still am like, oh, was Naruto. And of course, Miley is like perfect for it. Like there couldn't be anybody else but her. But I remember being in the callback room with her and I'd never seen her before and I was like, who is that? Well, that's Naruto. Sitting across from you. You have no chance.
I want to see.
I auditioned for like all of the characters in Naruto.
Did you?
Yeah, with Jamie. Like I think you were mentioning where it's like you go in and the table had like
You just
the
grab,
characters
like,
all around.
every
I took
single-
every. It was like here's the male characters, females, and it was like whichever one. I was like, and I went in. I was in each one. He's like, wow, that sounded awesome. That's perfect. Oh, you nailed that character. Like 20 of them. Didn't get any one of them.
I didn't either. I was like, dang it.
And that's showbiz.
Right.
It's still going. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's one of your favorites?
My favorite is Naruto.
Yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist is close second, as you can tell.
I had a-
Give her some candy.
Yeah, she got it. She got it. All right, great question. Thank you. Hi, what's your name?
What is it like for everyone to have to say Ruki all the time?
Just say what?
What is it like to say Rukia all the time?
It is such a chore.
You know what's a chore for me?
It's like Rukia.
How many times I have to
Will you
say
just-
Ichigo in one episode?
Well, we don't want people to forget my name.
Hey, Johnny, can you say bunkai?
Bankai, 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 bankai.
Okay.
Hey, what's your name?
Gabriel,
Gabriel. Thanks for joining us here. Gabriel, what questions you want to ask?
Ichigo, how do you defeat hollows?
Well,
You gotta see this kid's face, dude. He's like,
usually I take a giant sword, and it's spiritual though. It's a spiritual sword that can slice up spiritual demons and hollows. And those.
Like there's no blood kind
Exactly.
of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, except for the new stuff, right? The new
it's
stuff.
that was pretty blood war.
It's a blood war. 1,000 years worth.
1,000 years.
Yeah, so I take my giant sword and I.
I think this means he's slicing.
Yeah, and then he
Right,
slices.
Yeah.
Yes,
it
well,
is.
that's.
Or a pineapple.
Yeah, well, Ichigo means strawberry.
There
Yeah,
are two of them.
it's just like slicing up some strawberries.
Yell out Ichigo, they're basically yelling out, hey, strawberry.
Exactly, yes.
You know what? I'm gonna do that as a blooper for the
Now
next
on.
time
Strawberry.
strawberry. Yeah, thank you for that. That's
There you
so
go.
brilliant.
Did you have a question or just wanted to yell strawberry?
Nope, I didn't want to. Dominant. So how do people like you when you fight, how do they turn into hollows and why do hollows go to hollow world instead of any world they want?
Very philosophical.
Wow. Johnny?
Wait.
Can you repeat that, please?
One more time. One more time.
How do humans turn into hollows, but hollows get to go to any world they want instead of just one world?
Well, hollows aren't demons, are they?
Yeah, hollows are basically like.
They're like lost souls, I thought.
But are they though?
Initially,
But I thought that that's how they
they become
demons.
demons. Yes.
So is
I
that
think we should get the creator. I think we should get the creator on the line because
It's a mystery. And actually, in there's still some mythology and some stuff in the thing that they don't know. And until they get the script and act it out, they won't know it either. But not long after they record it, you'll find out and keep watching. How's that?
So guess what? We don't have the answer to your very intelligent question for
Yep.
7-year-olds.
Yeah.
For anybody.
You stumped them there.
But with that
That's
same
one, too.
sword, you can send the regular spirits to
Back to where they're supposed to go.
wherever they're supposed to go.
Heaven or
Yeah. Well, it's not Soul Society. It's like
no, someplace else.
somewhere. Yes,
Yeah.
that would be heaven, I guess.
Soul Society?
No.
No.
No. Soul Society is like
That's where all the soul reapers are.
yeah,
That's where I'm.
because it's a Soul Reaper.
we have a lot of questions too.
Let's take one for the audience.
Well, I know that there's a hell verse.
Yes, there is.
So
and
there's got to be a heaven verse.
Right.
Excuse me, Bree's talking.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Hi, Bree. What's your question?
My question is, what was your favorite memory while working on Bleach?
A lot. I have. Well, I guess I don't know. I have a lot of memories. series. There's a lot of cool moments in the show.
Sure.
The Car Encyclopedia. That was the weirdest thing. I was like, okay, so here's this character I'm playing, very shady, and then all of a sudden there's this really weird comedic stuff where he's, if nobody remembers, Geen comes in and does the Car Encyclopedia and kind of explains a lot of the stuff about Waco Mundo and all that stuff. And it was very delightful for me because that I kind of gravitated toward it was delightful for me. I like to gravitate toward that kind of stuff. So that was fun. That was probably the one moment that sticks out for me as being like
Super fun.
show.
I don't know. Fun moment. Probably, do you remember that behind the scenes video we did, like the very first like season?
The
we-
original DVD thing.
Yeah, we did like
Did we spray paint?
like
on
a
the
spray
walls?
paint, yeah.
Okay.
We all did like sort of street art thing on the backdrop. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was one where, because I had asked if I could dub every single character for one episode.
Did they
And-
let you?
No, they were like, "That's not. Let's find out."
That's a really good idea.
And so they asked, and then they're like, "No."
No.
Yeah.
No, you
But I thought it would have been fun
You know,
for
we
you
could
guys to
probably
have like
do
one
that
random.
on our own.
Yeah, one
But would you have
random-
just kept
No.
one voice for the entire thing?
No, I would have done like just bad voices throughout.
Like, oh my gosh,
It's just Ichigo doing everybody's.
All right,
And
come on
singing
up.
the songs too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be good at that.
Okay, we have just a few minutes left. I think we can get through all three of these last ones, so let's go. Hey, what's your name?
What was your favorite project to work on of all time for each of you?
Favorite project to work on?
Of all time.
Of all time. Oh
Ooh.
my goodness.
Wow.
Care Bears. No, I mean for real, Care Bears. I mean, so that you know, we're up here as anime voice actors, but there's other stuff out there called original animation, and the great part about that is usually it's just a room full of actors acting, and so it frees you up so much. I was able to kind of punch up the script. We didn't have to, fit into mouth flaps, and we didn't have time codes. So that was actually the Care Bears Welcome to Caroline, which is on Netflix. But it was a blast because it's freedom. It's like the one thing that we as anime voice actors were just like, I want to act more, but you only have this amount of time to do something. So
Yeah.
So that was mine, absolutely.
Mine would probably be the very first season I dubbed of Lupin the Third with Richard Epcar, who directed. We just used to laugh, like it would just be like, because he's so funny, he just makes jokes about everything, and he wrote the script.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. And this was back when I first started dubbing. Well, I get another one?
Well, one from me. You earned one from me finally. You brought up
Because
Lupin.
I'm talking about Lupin the Third.
Yes.
Yeah, you're waiting, Patty. So yeah, that would probably be one of the funnest times for me in like the anime dubbing world would be that first dubbing season of Lupin the Third.
I like them all. They're all my children.
That's a fair answer. There you go. Thank you. Great question. Hey, what's your name?
My name's Cody. And so I was wondering, what is like an unexpected challenge that you had as voice acting? Like something you just didn't think was gonna be a problem, but ended up being like, oh, that's a big problem.
Burping on command.
Oh yeah.
I played
it's
a
possible.
character in a Nickelodeon show. It was a frog named Burp, and that's how I was supposed to speak. Is everything was in burps. So I would like chug a can of Coke and hope that I get a really good burp out. And then I found out we did a couple seasons, and they replaced me with sound effects. So I was just kind of like, I drank like my weight in Coca-Cola to make this sound right. So yeah, right there. Yeah.
Jokes. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the bat.
Most challenging, is that what you're saying?
Thinking.
I did a video game, and I don't know the name of it, and I played Goblin, and it was a number. It's like a number 13 or something. And I never did like any creature noises, voice, anything like that before. This was a long time ago. This is before the Lord of the Rings movies. And so yeah, it's like this goblin, and there's a script, and I went to go look at the script, but as I was flipping through, it was all just vowels. And it was like A, O, O, E, I, and I was like, what is this? I had no idea what that was. And so I was like, what? It's just all vowels. It's like, oh, you're a goblin, so you're just gonna be doing goblin noises. And so I didn't know what to do, and I was kind of like freaking out. I was like, oh gosh. And so I'm there for 4 hours to do some goblin thing, and I'm like, ah. And so I thought back when I was a kid, I had this guinea pig, and I would talk to it because it would talk to me, and I was like, so I did that, and I was like, and they're like, yeah, okay, yeah, do that. So for 4 hours, I was like, flying off the thing, onto a spike, whatever, you're being electrocuted, 4 hours, and then, some top secret game, and then lost my voice. And the next day I was supposed to start like doing a young kid voice, but I couldn't do it because I had no voice, and so I lost a job for some game that I don't know the name of.
Sucks because you didn't do it.
No, the Goblin thing I did, but
so
I don't
you never
know.
even knew.
Yeah, it's like I know it's Namco.
Okay.
It's like Namco, top secret,
Yeah, they're all
And I was just like a goblin.
So that reminds me, I remember the hardest thing I ever did was, what's the vampire, like the movies, the underground vampire things? Underworld, yeah, it was like Underworld 3, and I was hired to come in to do all of the efforts for this like 13-year-old vampire. Well, she was like screaming, like, attacking, like really, really over the top. I lost my voice, and I ended up having to go, like I really lost my voice for like 2 weeks. I had to go, I had to go and get a cortisone shot because the inflammation.
In your neck?
Not in my neck. Yes, they shot it right in my neck. They should have. No, they put it in your butt. They shoot it in your butt.
Yeah?
Yeah, so So I don't do that stuff anymore. It's not worth it.
In your butt for your throat?
Yeah, for inflammation.
That's where I keep my throat.
My throat's in my butt.
The sinister scientist. This will make you talk. No, seriously, this will make you talk. All right, bring us home. What's your name?
My name is Marcus. This question's for Doug. So,
No, it had to be directed towards everybody.
well, it's gonna be for all of you. So, but
All of you, but mostly you.
he's the only one who's had a character who died off in Bleach. So,
You did? What character?
He did. So, I'll widespread it for all of you in case you've had a character die off,
Right.
but mostly for Doug.
Right.
I have a special place for games, so that's why. So how was it if you got the script for a character?
No, it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
you're
you
like
don't have a
literally.
script,
So on
you have a
both
secondary
Bleach,
character.
yeah, both on Bleach and Naruto, I literally found out the day I was in the script. Like in Naruto, I walk in and the sound engineer / director is like, "You died today," and I'm like, "What?"
Was it Ryan?
No, it was Susie.
Oh
Susie.
my God.
So that's kind of what happened both times. I was literally informed the day we were recording. Oh, by the way, you died. I'm like,
By the way, this is your last session
Yeah,
ever for
yeah.
the show.
I had a buddy, high school buddy from back in Michigan in town. I said, yeah, come in and sit in on a session. And we walk in and she said, you died. I'm like, my friend turns to me, he's like, so you just lost your job? Pretty much. So it doesn't feel good. Yeah, but it serves its purpose. My microphone etiquette is very bad right now.
That's very
man.
spiritual, Doug. I know you're like,
You need
puh, 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 puh.
You need to put them below the mic.
Yes. How did those death scenes affect you? Did you cry?
Maybe a wiggle bit. Did you cry a wiggle bit?
All right, here's a kid. You make me feel better. It's okay. It's all right. You know what? It's all make believe.
It's just anime. It's not real.
Hi guys, my name's Patty, big fan. I wanted to know what kind of upcoming projects you all may have in the pipeline that you are allowed to talk about.
Well.
Yeah. Not a lot that we can talk about. Oh, I do have the Power Rangers 30th thing. Yeah. Oh, I could give these out. If any of you guys want to go to Ranger Stop Atlanta, this is a free weekend pass.
That's awesome.
You can come get them.
Okay.
Afterwards, just come on over and I'll...
Ranger Stop's run by a mutual friend of ours. It's a really fun show. You know,
Amazing.
Power
I do
Rangers.
have
Free weekend pass.
I do have one show. I'm going to talk about Aurora for a second.
Oh, Aurora.
Yeah. So I directed an original animated
We didn't sign an NDA.
pilot. No, he doesn't mind. We talk about it. I think he wants us to talk about it actually. So
Used
Johnny,
to not talk.
I know.
Okay, sorry.
Johnny is the lead character in this show. It's called Aurora, and the creator of the show, he basically wrote his own graphic novel, which he turned into an animated series. And he brought Johnny on to play the main character. I play one of the characters. We just recorded it like 2 months ago, so we're waiting for the pilot to be finished, but keep your eyes out for it. Steve Bloom is in it, myself, Johnny Eric Bentley, and Austin Matthews, I think is his last name. But it's really cool, so just keep your eye out. That's...
Hey, I have something I want to hype too, because it hasn't gotten a lot of love, but if you guys have Netflix, there's a show called Brown and Friends. And if you're familiar with the line Friends, it's kind of like a Sanrio, kind of Hello Kitty stuff. Brown and Friends is a very sweet, silly show.
With the bear?
The bear, yeah.
My son watched all those episodes.
Your son is my only fan, apparently.
Yeah. No, I said I watched
How
it
old
with
is your
him.
son?
He's 7, but he
Okay.
liked it. He enjoyed it. He
And
just-
so you notice that my character never opens his mouth, right?
Right.
It's the best. They're like, oh, so you're playing this bear. Can you give us, what if your mouth was sewn shut? I'm like, So that's it.
Oh,
That's
that's
the entire
cool.
show.
You're the bear. That's awesome.
It's a cute show. How old's your kid?
He's 7.
Yeah, perfect for the kids.
It's one of those things where, you know, it's like, there's only so many things I can let him watch, but,
Yeah.
you know, but that was like such an easy thing, like right before going to school. Well, that's what I mean, like before school. There's not a lot of time, they're short.
Yeah.
And then he could watch it while he's eating his cereal and head out.
Yes.
Ended up watching like the whole.
So if you guys can help join Johnny's son and watch the programs, that would be wonderful.
So he's not alone.
Hey, do you have any prints on your table?
I don't.
Dang it.
I have Funko Pops. I'll sign them for him.
You have a brown bear?
Not here, but I'm.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That's cute.
Yeah, all right, cool.
CollectorCon 2023.
Thank you, guys.
This was
Yeah.
Master Bleach.
Thank you.